access it to the
Well,
outside.
Okay, we're good from this perspective.
Yeah, sure. This poetry too. I bring this meeting to order, Jackson County Board of Commissioners. This is November the 17th, one of our two meetings of monthly meetings. First order of business is our approval of the agenda.
I move
Do I
that we,
hear anyone that has any problem with our agenda today? If not,
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
we got a second. I think all we do is say, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'd like to also say that our distinguished chairman, he is, he's with us by Zoom, I guess. Is that Zoom?
Yes.
He has to work, he has a funeral today, and he'll be with us most of the meeting. If not all, but he's got to be somewhere where he gets this. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, and at some point, probably about a quarter till 2, I'll have to step out so I can go sing.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Approval of minutes, haven't read or reviewed these minutes of our reconvened meeting and our work session and our last regular meeting. Do Do I hear anyone that has any problems or corrections with those minutes?
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
All right, minutes have been approved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I do not have a report. How about you, Mr. Chairman?
No report.
Mr. Vine?
Yeah, you all are aware that TWASA was involved in some COVID wastewater testing and test pilot project. There will be an article about that in the upcoming issue, the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. So be looking on that. I think that's coming out next week or the first week of December. And the other thing, haven't voted on it yet for the TWASA board. It's on our agenda tonight, but I'm pretty confident what will happen is we had a community grant application for the Harris Hills Affordable Housing Project in Silva, and they've got an application in for roughly $11,000. I'm pretty confident that that will get passed by the TWASA board.
Remind me where that Harris Hills, is that the one in Dillsboro behind?
It's on Second Avenue, is that correct?
Yes,
It's,
by diversified,
With Mountain Projects?
yes, it's that project.
Okay,
Projects,
thank
yes.
you.
Yep.
I just wanted to clarify
Yep.
my memory.
That's it?
Yes, I would like to give kudos to two of our county groups that served so well during the Veterans Holiday. One was our Grounds and Keeping putting up the beautiful flags, and I saw many people, I didn't count, but taking pictures and just in honor of our veterans. And then Sheila and her staff with the veterans group, they just did a lovely meal and honored the veterans and did such a great job with that. So I wanted to just mention this for further thought as well. Tom Baker, a veteran here from Jackson County, had invited me to a meeting. They had a hump hike in to bring awareness of suicide rates among veterans. And so they had a little get together afterwards, and we met with masks on and everything. And I attended and met a person there. Her name's Jill Carter, and she works with the Western Counties, the 7 Western Counties, with a group called Veterans Restoration. And they're working with homeless, providing shelter for homeless veterans. And I thought at some point it would be good maybe to have her come and speak to us at a work session about what they offer, because these are often people who don't feel comfortable going into a homeless shelter. They're somewhat alienated from their families and maybe community, but there's certainly a group of people that we want to be aware of and attentive to their needs. So maybe Mr. Adams we could reach out to her and have her come and share with us. She actually works through the Asheville Buncombe Christian Ministries, but they got a grant to do more extensive regional efforts for veterans.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you send me her?
I will. Yes, I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Woody. I would like to mention one other thing. Many of y'all probably know David McGuire, Dr. McGuire. He's helped us with a lot of different things, been on some boards. And he and his wife, tragedy in their family this weekend, lost his daughter. Automobile wreck in Charlotte. And, she's married and got two children. I don't have. But I'd like for us to think about them and keep us in their prayers, along with all the people in this country that's having very tragic things happen to them. A lot of it just because of this COVID virus.
And Dr. McGuire does serve on our Board of Health currently. So,
Mr. Manning.
Yes, sir. I'll try to be brief. I don't have a formal report, I just have a few announcements to the board. A couple things, something Commissioner Woody, you may want to speak to. We just learned that the NCDOT subcommittee has approved the beloved man, Dr. Jerry Wolf highway designation. That formal approval is set to go before the NCDOT board as a whole at a virtual meeting for December 3rd. And once that's approved by the full DOT board, then hopefully we can start talking about sometime early next year, calendar year, about setting up the presentation and the unveiling of the signs and so forth. So that's great. I know Commissioner Woody, you're working with the family right now to provide comments for the NCDOT board. The other thing is just one of the items you'll take up is a budget amendment with Darlene Fox, the finance officer. I did provide you an email announcement, but we did get the additional $288,707 in CDBG funds to go along with $1 million grant that we've already received to help us with the water and sewer project at Blue Ridge School. So you'll see that's on the agenda for you to vote on the contract. Before you can vote on the contract, you'll see Darlene come to you with the budget amendment, but it's great news that we're able to get the additional $200,000+. And then finally, just let you know, I did put in your boxes just our monthly permit information that's provided to you in regards to the number of permits issued by both the Code Enforcement Office and the Planning Department. And then, that was the final. I'd like to introduce to the board the new assistant to the county manager's office. You have Miss Carrie Tucker there. And we're excited to have her in the suite. We did go through a process and everybody in our suite agreed we felt like she was the best candidate for the job, and we look forward to working. So welcome.
Thank you.
We will do as usual, have her address the board.
That's all I have, Mr. Buster.
Thank you, man. All right, do we have any comments?
We do not have anyone signed up.
Anybody?
We don't have anyone signed up.
All right, Ms. Fox, please. Good to see you.
good afternoon.
Over evening.
I'll go over the highlights for the month of for October. General fund revenues today, $22,438,837. That's 32.57% of budget. The expenditures are $22,184,049. That's 33.14% of budget. The revenues are $254,788 for the expenses at this point. The ad valorem taxes, $15,196,648. That's 43.47% of budget. The prior year taxes, $305,098. That's 33.88% of budget. And the motor vehicle taxes, $427,771. 29.47% of budget. The sales tax continues to increase. We had, for the month of October, which was July sales, it was up 16.86% from the same period last year. The amount of $1,549,589. The Article 46 distribution was $175,696. And we're also seeing the increase in room occupancy tax about the same rate. The landfill disposal fees collected, $673,737. That's 35.69% of budget. And the prior year landfill disposal fees, $24,511. That's 40.85% of budget. Also attached is Via's Health's first quarter finance report for this fiscal year. Their total revenues is $115,181,500, and the expenditures $104,397,359. They had a net income of $9,626,880. Their spendable cash is $7,142,627. We're seeing the increase in the growth revenues. The environmental help at this point is 40% above budget, and the register deeds revenues is 65.45% above budget. So we're seeing a lot of growth. And Tabitha can tell you, they've seen a lot of transfers.
It's good, I guess.
It is. It's a lot of revenue.
Now, do you, when environmental health, when someone, there has to be a septic inspection or things like that, so that probably corresponds to some of this increase, doesn't it?
It does.
When there's sales, supposedly.
When you see sales, you have revenue of feature transfers
Sure,
or purchases, and environmental helps when they start the billing process.
yes, okay.
The general fund contingency balance at the end of the month, $1,814,476. Be glad to answer any questions on the report.
Any questions?
I have one budget amendment in the amount of $133,717.50. It's for the Board of Elections for COVID grants. We had one for the Center for Technical and Civic Life and the 2020 CARES Act from the State Board of Elections. And then I have one project ordinance amendment. It's for the School Improvement Fund for the Blue Ridge Project. It's an increase of $288,707 from North Carolina Division of Water Infrastructure and $182,293 transferred from school capital fund.
Questions?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Thank you.
The 2020 taxes collected for October were $2,720,407. The delinquent taxes collected were $70,876. The total deposited for October was $2,914,677.30. And also for the month, there were overpayment refunds of $10,064.10 and releases of $908.81.
Question?
Thank
you. I believe it's in the. This consent, do we not? I hear a motion to accept these reports as given.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Right.
Commissioner Deeds, Commissioner Woody,
yes.
Commissioner Mao,
Yes.
Chairman McMahon.
Yes.
Okay. That's that.
Yes, sir.
Attention's in, position transfer.
Sorry?
Is that you next?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next item of discussion is the request for detention center position transfer. This is an item that was discussed amongst the board at our work session. Let me pull it up here on the screen. And just, you do have a memo included in your packets and online here. Basically, under our current budget, in the jail, the position of detention lieutenant is currently classified as a non-sworn position at grade SH 50. Under the budget for the sheriff's office, all lieutenant positions are classified as sworn enforcement officers at a grade SH 52. Sheriff Hall has requested, and I do recommend that the detention lieutenant position in the jail be reclassified under the sheriff's office at grade 52 to match the other lieutenant positions. Any appointee to the position of detention lieutenant should also be required to be a sworn law enforcement officer in the state of North Carolina. So the request is to reclassify this position under the sheriff's office, or excuse me, under the jail at grade 50 to the sheriff's office to grade 52.
Right, we have a question.
Make a motion, we need to make a motion to
Yeah,
approve
we
this.
will.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the sheriff's request as presented.
I second that motion.
Oh, okay. Any other discussion?
Commissioner Mount,
Yes.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Deeds,
Yes.
Chairman McMahon.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Adams.
Yes, sir. As stated earlier, we were fortunate to get the additional award from CDBG funds to help us with the Blue Ridge School project. So what you do have enclosed in your packets, or at least enclosed in your packet, is the notice of award, and what's online is the actual proposed contract itself. That was that 200+ page document that was presented to the board at our work session. So the request for the board is to approve this notice of award. This notice of award is for the amount of $1,280,000 for the Blue Ridge water and wastewater systems. Ultimately, it's awarded to Stillwell Enterprises. So we're requesting that the board approve this notice of award and authorize the chairman to sign this award and also other contract documents as necessary and approved by the county attorney.
Okay, we've been asked by our manager to approve this notice of award,
Yes, sir.
correct? Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve the notice of award to Stillwell Enterprises for the proposed improvements for Blue Ridge School water and wastewater systems, and to authorize the chairman and county attorney to sign any documents as necessary.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I haven't heard the motion and a second. Are there any further discussion?
This will not become part of TWASA, will it?
That
It's a
would
separate
separate
entity. Yes,
independent
yes.
wastewater system.
I thought so.
Commissioner Deeds,
Yes,
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Mount,
Yes.
Chairman McMahon.
Yes.
The next item of discussion, you do have enclosed our online. You do have online the proposed contract for the Animal Rescue Center and Green Energy Park. The proposed contract, bear with me, let's see across the room, so I'm going to pull this up. Just want to point out some details in the contract for the board and for the public. This contract is enclosed in, on part of the agenda, and it is online. And when you go online and go down to I just want to, obviously there's more details in this, but I just want to point out a couple of things here. Is first of all, the award sum is $4,333,500. Obviously, that's to H&M Constructors, who were the low bid. That does include alternates 1, which is the generator, alternate 2, the epoxy floor, alternate 5, the restroom building, alternate 7, and the storage building. And ultimately, the request for the board is to authorize the chairman to sign these construction contracts. And I would also ask that the board authorize us to make any minor changes as necessary to the contract, meaning we wouldn't change any of the costs associated and so forth, but this contract is still being reviewed by both parties. What you have in front of you has been approved by the county attorney, and I haven't really heard anything back from the contractor that would change anything that would be substantial.
All right, what we're being asked is for the chairman to be able to sign this contract, correct?
Yes,
And number 2,
it's just, and to make any minor
and for allow you and he to make any minor
alterations
alterations.
as approved by the county attorney.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Any discussion at all?
Commissioner Mouse,
Yes.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Deep,
Yes.
Chairman McMahon.
Yes.
All right, next item of discussion, this is include, the updated version of this got included into your packets. This is in regards to the community service center. So let me go ahead and just pull it up from the two. What I wanted to do is bring back before this board what is considered to be the last change order, log of change orders that are out there for this job. It is now projected that right now we're looking to move into this facility the first 2 weeks of January, beginning January 4th, and then given for a 2-week period to transition over through January 15th. Right now, it is still scheduled for furniture to show up November 30th. The contractor has until December 16th to not only deliver, but to install, put together all the furniture. What that does is that really gives us, that puts us right up along Christmas and the holidays. So between December 16th and the 1st of January, we'll just be doing some slow transition. And then the last thing I briefly had discussed with the board, but I do have some numbers associated with this, is if you look at the last change order, and this is what has changed since these logs were brought to you. You look at number 8, you can see that's actually a negative 5,244, but that's because we've gotten a credit of 29,821 for not having to extend drywall to the deck in significant portions of the project. We did need to paint the interior handrails for our stairwell, for our exit for the front and the back. And then finally, the one-stop shop revisions that I mentioned to the board, the proposed $19,693, and this does cost additional 14 days, but it's still lined up. They'll get everything done before December 16th. And what this does is just remind to the board, it is going to alter the whole one-stop center, or the lobby area and the countertops is actually moving it forward and creating additional countertop space in the back. Just to break it down a little bit, the alternate of the actual countertop itself is about $12,000 and moving all of that forward. And then we're adding about another $7,000 worth of additional storage space and cabinetry and things of that nature. So as you can see, then the total approved changes would be for $392,782.84 with 96 additional days added to the contract, meaning substantial completion is set for August 10th, 2020. Now, obviously, we're past August 10th, 2020. I am asking the board to ratify this. There's no more changes being out there. This is going to be how this contract is going to be settled. And what I mean by that is obviously there's going to be a gap between substantial completion date of August 10th and when actual substantial completion is done. And I am asking that the board just ratify this information so that when we close out these documents, I will follow through with the contract. And that's liquidated damages and things like that.
I just had one question about the timing. I think it's great that the plan is to move in the first 2 weeks of January. Will the health department still be able to maintain, services like COVID testing and things like that? Or do they need to get out of the current situation in January?
Well,
So, rent, I know rent's an issue and
so,
I understand that.
so I can't answer the details of what you're asking. I have been told by the health department management team that this is a satisfactory time period, a
Okay.
2-week period. This also meets the notice requirements that we have to give the state IT and things of that nature to transition over. Plus, this timeline also meets with code enforcement and also with planning. And so I could only assume that they have taken these questions into consideration.
Sure.
Now, depending upon, assuming that the schedules, how they change or don't change, my plans are to have the health department come to the Board of Commissioners at the work session in December. We have some other issues
Yes.
that we need them, that we're having to discuss with the Board of Commissioners, and that would be a really great
Okay.
time to talk about what their transition plan would be as far as services.
Thank you.
So you need a motion to approve the change order log?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the change order log for the Jackson County Community Services Building.
Second.
All right, we've heard the motion and the second about ratifying this correctly.
I have one question for the Mr. Manager.
Yes.
So there are liquidated damages in the contract, is that what you're, okay.
Do what now?
I just, he mentioned liquidated damages, so I just was making sure that I heard that correctly.
So is the health department really on a timeline to get in there? I mean, there's a heck of a lot of stuff going on with the health department right now, the responsibilities they have, and it could even,
Yes.
bad, it could get worse, so probably the one thing that's at least important for them right now is where they're operating from.
So my answer to you has to be yes, because I have been asking, I've given them options, meaning I was trying to figure out, do we want to move in before Christmas, after Christmas? We also talked about what their busiest months have been. If you remember back in October, November is when the flu season's coming in. So I guess where I'm at, they have sat down as a not just Shelley, but the
Right.
management team, and they've gone through and I even talked to them about, are they open to splitting up their move, meaning environmental health come in later, because I wasn't sure about when this one-stop shop was going to be finished. And their choice to me was they would rather wait, because there could have been some options to try to push this in sort of around the holiday season.
Sure.
But their choice was to wait to these first weeks, and they're really actually pushing, even though I'm giving a 2-week period. The conversation I was having with Shelley today about this was they're really pushing the first week, but I'm setting a 2-week time frame, and I'm really just leaving it up to IT staff and their staff and code enforcement staff. And then I've also talked to maintenance staff about even taking consideration when hunting season and things of that nature, about making sure people are available to help move.
Yes.
And then the final conversation I'm having, we're gonna have furniture left over in the existing facility, and I think Chad's reaching out to Darlene about, can we go through a disposal process so that we don't have to move that twice? And then can we go through the disposal process of that, the furniture sitting in the existing temporary health department space? And these are all things being taken into consideration. So, I can't speak completely for the health department, but they have been having a lot of conversation about this, and I believe they're prepared and ready to move. And this is going to, I understand the existing space is great. This is better space, especially from a clinical standpoint. They are going to be in a much better space. Their laboratory space, I mean, it's really hard to describe. Their laboratory space, it's more than double to what they originally have in their old health department.
Yes.
But compared to what they have now, I don't even know what the comparison would be. So I do believe we need to go ahead and set the schedule move for the first 2 weeks of January and just get it done.
All right, we've
Well,
got a
and-
discussion about this ratification. I'll move in the health department. Any other discussion? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna mention parking has been a huge issue in their current location. And that will be so much better when they move. That's another concern.
Diane?
I already made a motion, right?
Yeah, we've had
So,
some.
Yes, and I said, that was just discussion.
Commissioner Deeds?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Booker?
Ma'am.
Chair Mao?
Yes.
Chairman McMahon?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir. The next item of discussion is the board had asked me to come back with a timeline of just next steps in the timeline in regards to the indoor pool. So I did get this online here just in the last hour. Kelly got this online, so it's for this board and also for public consumption. And so what I just wanted to do is just put it into writing what the next steps would have needs to be for the indoor pool. And the next steps is to develop an architectural contract with Clark Nexen, develop a bond attorney contract, and to develop an initial budget in order to proceed forward with major architectural contract and other costs associated with proceeding forward, surveying, environmental costs, things of that nature. I know I was making an educated guess last meeting, but I am starting to get some of the rough draft information from these contracts. And so, for example, I think I mentioned architect contract would be 7 figures or $1 million. It's really about 1.4 million when you compare it to the actual construction cost. But these are things is why I need to have time to pull this information in so I can give you accurate information. Once those things are developed, once the initial budget is determined, then the following items would need to be brought before the board for the commissioner approval. One is the reimbursement resolution that I mentioned before. This resolution allows the county to expend funds expend funds now for this project and be reimbursed later with either loan proceeds or bond proceeds. It's just a legal technical issue that the board needs to do. The second is project ordinance or budget amendment, whichever is really recommended by the finance officer. The main point is the funds would need to be put in place before you can actually authorize any contracts to be signed. And 3 would be the Clark Nexen contract. This is the primary contract that would need to be approved to move this project forward. And then 4 is the bond attorney contract. This contract could potentially be delayed depending upon how we finance the project. The above items that are being described here could potentially be accomplished in the month of December 2020, but due to holidays and other things going on with staff, this also potentially could move to January. It just depends on when these items can be vetted by attorneys and things of that nature. I also asked Clark Nexen to go ahead and put together a rough timeline for the project as a whole. And so this timeline really begins after we have gotten everything mentioned so far completed. And so, if you look at their rough timeline, it takes them about 3 months to finalize. This is after we contracted with them. 3 months to finalize schematic design, 3 months for design development, 6 months for construction documents, 2 months for bidding and contract execution, 19 to 22 months for construction, and 1 month for closeout. That's about a 34 to 36 month timeline there. And if you really compare that to December, January now, that really puts a projected completion of this project as a whole sometime in October to December of 2023. What I'm working out right now with Architect, and we'll do this when the contract comes back before the board. This is rough. This will be more detailed in regards to their timeline. I'm starting to see a little bit more detail now. This is really just a rough calendar. You know, the architect said we might shave a month or two off depending upon weather, but he feels like this rough timeline will be part of this contract. So this is what he feels like it'll take to actually complete this project. And so at this point, we will have next meeting, we'll have a work session in December. And at that point, I would update the board as to where we're at as far as the development of some of these contracts. And then the board can provide direction or comments at that point. So what are our next steps?
I do have one question. I remember when the person from Clark Nixon was presenting us with the initial idea and showed the two pools and everything. It seemed to me that he said that what we have paid them for that initial design would be subtracted from the design contract when we if we did indeed go ahead and contract with them to do the pool. Is that correct?
I do remember that being with the health department. I
Oh,
don't,
maybe that was,
Or the animal shelter maybe too.
oh, maybe that was
or
it.
excuse me, not the health department, the animal shelter.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I
that's what
remember
it
too, is the
was.
animal shelter. I don't
Okay.
recall.
So maybe that's not the case in this situation.
But what
Can
needs
we
to
ask them
happen?
to do that?
Well,
I mean, this
Well,
is,
I think that's work they would have had to done anyway.
so that's where we're at right now. That's the reason I was, my point of last meeting and saying this is a $7-figure $1 million contract was to let everybody know this is gonna take time to develop. It's not a $35,000 contract is what we had with the architect initially.
okay,
And my point about giving these numbers is really about just letting everybody know this is, it's gonna take time to negotiate out this contract. I can have these discussions. We've got to eventually get down to what the appropriate percentage is, and these are types of things that we
Sure.
need to discuss with our.
But that was all included in that initial number, that they, that $20 million number,
yes.
included their
Seems like-
fees
Oh, yeah,
and
it's
Yes.
everything
I
is
see what you're
adjusted,
saying.
it did
Okay.
adjust it for, the construction schedule and everything and material costs going up. So that's all,
some of the rough information that I'm getting right now, it all lines up with all the information that's been presented as
Okay.
far as budget estimates and so forth.
And I do remember them saying that about costs going up because, and indeed that's happened. So,
And that's really what's happening is,
Yeah.
when you look at, when we start talking about the architect's contract, we are gonna be basing it upon estimated cost with this timeline that has an inflation.
yes.
So we're not gonna be swimming before the Christmas of 2023. Is that correct?
that sounds like the goal.
Oh, dear. You know, I think about, I know that several people who have told me that they voted for this pool did so because their children were on the swim team. Their children are grown, some have children of their own now, but they saw this as something that they felt our community needed and wanted to see this pool. And so I think that's something that our youngest citizens can look forward to at some point down the line.
Meeting schedule.
Yes, sir. Did the chairman have to leave?
Mr. Leo,
I don't know, if you want to, just, click, yeah, go ahead,
Alan?
go to the far right and
Alan?
see, yes. Yeah, it looks like he's gone, no.
I think ultimately the question, I believe, following up from the work session was trying to figure out if this board wishes to meet December 1st. And I believe the chairman was going to talk to Mickey about whether or not Mickey could be here in person. I'm just reminding everybody what the conversation
Yes.
was about.
That's right.
And so, Mickey, are you hearing me? I believe that was our previous conversation about trying to figure out if this board's gonna meet December 1st, and was trying to do the transition, and recognize the board members, you and Ron, and I think, I don't know, I think the board was wanting to know if you would be available for the December 1st meeting, is that correct? Guys, y'all jump in.
Yeah, that's what I remember the chairman saying.
That's correct.
Yes.
Let me get back with you on that.
Okay.
So, are we having a meeting December 1st? I guess is the question. Like we are, at this point.
I believe so, I mean,
Okay.
What?
When is that normally? Is that the?
that's the
It's the
sixth,
6th.
6 o'clock, okay, yes,
So let's just go ahead and plan on
Okay.
meeting December 1st.
okay.
Right? Okay.
Okay.
That's all I
Any
have.
questions? That's it?
That's all I have, just question.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Adams. All right, we need to talk about these appointments.
I would like to, table these until later.
Later, like ever, or
No,
later.
no. Another meeting,
Okay,
yes.
is that a motion?
I believe, yes, I'd like to move that we, move these appointments, to later meeting. Do we need to say date?
Do we need a motion or are we just carrying forward? Isn't that what we?
Carry
Just say
forward.
carry
That's what I-
forward and then-
yes,
and
please.
it just happens.
Yes, yes,
Do we carry it forward?
please.
All right, I'm carry it forward. Any questions for that? Any problems with that? Any problems with that, Mickey?
No, sir.
All right, then that, we'll do just that, and,
You've got two
anybody
members,
with, anybody with the press?
yeah, you've got two members of the press on.
Yeah.
If they have any questions.
Who's the first one?
Got Beth on here from the Silver Herald.
Can you hear me, Beth?
Yeah, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Ma'am?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, thank y'all.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn, do I have a here second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, man.